Welcome to the Submitting a Complete Loan Application for Conditional Commitment training module presented by USDA's Single Family Housing Guaranteed Loan Program. This training will provide you with the information you need to successfully build a complete loan application and obtain a conditional commitment from USDA Rural Development within a few days of submitting a complete loan application. Our number one goal is to get home buyers into the home they have worked so hard to call their own. Together we can make sure this happens, and most importantly, that it happens on time. The first step to building a complete loan application is understanding submission types. It's important to know the different types of applications so you know what documents are required to be submitted to rural development based on the GUS underwriting recommendation. GUS loans that receive an accept underwriting recommendation generally require a minimal submission of documents. In some cases, a GUS accept file may receive a full documentation review condition, which will be listed under the lender's prior to conditional commitment conditions, and then additional documentation will be required. Loans selected for a full documentation review are randomly selected for a data integrity review. Loan requests that receive a refer or refer with caution underwriting recommendation require further review and will require a full documentation submission. Lenders must review their GUS findings report and submit documentation accordingly. All submissions will utilize attachment 15A found at the end of Chapter 15 in the handbook. Agency staff will not review a loan file that is incomplete and conditioned for missing loan documents. Files that are severely incomplete will be released back to the lender and create delays. Regardless of the GUS underwriting recommendation, you will upload all documents via the GUS application. There is no need to email anything to rural development for any type of GUS loan. The condition full documentation review is listed on the GUS findings under the lender's prior to conditional commitment conditions as shown here. Streamlined assist refinance loans and some pilot programs cannot be underwritten through GUS. In these instances, although the application cannot be run through the GUS decision engine, the file will still be submitted through the use of GUS. There is a two-step process for submitting your loan and documentation through GUS for these manual file types. Step 1 requires some entries to be made in GUS to establish the file. At a minimum, the lender will enter on the eligibility page, the full subject property address and household income. On the borrower page, the first and last name of the primary applicant and social security number. And on the application documents page, upload all required documentation as indicated on the 15A checklist. Lenders should not order or reissue credit reports in GUS for manual files. Once the lender has uploaded all required documents into GUS, the lender will need to email the appropriate production team with notification that the application has been uploaded. Include the following information: the GUS application ID number, the applicant's name, property address, and loan submission type. A return email from the production team confirming submission of required documentation will constitute the date of file submission. The second step of building the application is ensuring that you submit a complete and accurate Form RD 3555-21, the request for single-family housing loan guarantee. The number one reason conditional commitments are delayed is because this form is submitted with incomplete or inaccurate information. So let's spend a little time walking through it. Form RD 3555-21 is the only required form that is unique to a guaranteed loan application, and it's very easy to complete. Actually, much of the information will pre-fill from your GUS application. It can then be printed for the applicant and lender to sign, or it can be signed electronically. Make sure you are using the most current version of the form that is posted on the USDA Forms website. The top portion of page 1 of the form is completed with the approved lender information. You will also complete the third-party originator name and tax ID if applicable. Next, you will complete the applicant and property information. If there are additional co-applicants, you must fully document their information on a separate form. For non-GUS submissions only, make sure to document the date that a representative from your institution verified on the GSA list found on the SAM website that the applicant, co-applicant, and other parties to the mortgage transaction have not been suspended or debarred from participating in rural development programs. This verification must occur prior to the request for conditional commitment and no greater than 30 days prior to the loan closing, or you may need to re-verify this information prior to closing. If the application is for a refinance loan, make sure you indicate if the original loan was a guaranteed or direct loan. On lines 3A and 3B, enter the annual and adjusted income totals. These totals may end up differing from the totals on your income calculation documentation, as they may be completed prior to obtaining income verifications, and that is acceptable. The bottom section of page 1 breaks down the total loan request. Note that this section 5 is only required for non-GUS submissions. Only include those items being financed and included in the loan amount. For example, if the applicant is not financing any portion of the upfront guarantee fee, do not include any portion of the fee here. The total request must match your loan amount showing in the GUS Loan and Property Information tab or line K in the Qualifying the Borrower drop-down of the Lender Loan Information tab. The application will be considered incomplete if they do not match. Make sure the loan amount accounts for any rounding that may occur at closing in your system. The loan cannot close for even 1 cent higher than the loan amount on the conditional commitment without prior approval from rural development. Failure to get approval for a higher loan amount could jeopardize your guarantee. If you think the applicant may need additional loan funds at closing, now is the perfect time to look at increasing the loan amount. Now let's take a look at the applicant certification. The applicant is certifying that they are not presently debarred, suspended, declared ineligible, or voluntarily excluded from covered transactions by any federal department or agency. They are also certifying that they are unable to secure conventional credit. This section also informs the applicant that their guaranteed loan will be subject to payment of an annual fee for the life of the loan, and the fee is calculated based on the average scheduled unpaid principal balance. By signing the form, applicants certify all statements made by them in the application are true, complete, and correct to the best of their knowledge. Income calculations are no longer provided on the 3555-21 form. The lender should document their income calculations for all adult household members on either the optional attachment 9B, the underwriting transmittal summary, the 1008 or the 1077, or a similar form. Income calculations must be performed for all loans, but GUS Accept loans will not require the submission of these calculations to the agency. These calculations must remain in the lender's permanent file. The totals of the calculations must match the information entered into GUS. For more information on income calculations, please review our modules on annual adjusted and repayment income in Chapter 9 of the handbook. Step number 3 is assembling the documents. Make sure you utilize the correct loan origination checklist and that the items are assembled in the order listed on the checklist. Doing so will be a huge time saver for rural development and will ensure quicker turn times on conditional commitments. For GUS loans that receive an accept underwriting recommendation, you will follow page 1 of attachment 15A, Loan Origination Checklist, when assembling documents for upload to GUS. Assemble the following documents in this stacking order. The completed and signed Form RD 3555-21, Request for Single Family Housing Loan Guarantee, all pages. The Standard Flood Determination Form, Mortgage Payoff Statement, if it's a refinance transaction, Credit Report for non-purchasing spouse, if the property is located in a community property state, and lastly, the Appraisal Report. This document must be uploaded separately into the GUS and must include color photographs. That's it. Just be sure to double check your GUS findings report and make sure the loan wasn't randomly selected for a full documentation review. Follow the checklist on page 2 of attachment 15A, Loan Origination Checklist, for GUS loans that receive a refer or refer with caution underwriting recommendation, and for those that receive the full documentation condition message. You will also follow this checklist for any applications underwritten without the assistance of GUS or those not supported in GUS. Assemble the following documents in this stacking order: the completed and signed form RD 3555-21, request for single-family housing loan guarantee. The underwriting transmittal or analysis. If a credit or ratio waiver is required, document it here. This form is not required for GUS accept loans that are randomly selected for a full documentation review. The Uniform Residential Loan Application. Complete income documentation for all adult household members. Asset verification documentation, such as verification of deposits, bank statements, gift letters, etc., is always required, even if net family assets are below $50,000. Credit report and supporting documentation for loans underwritten without the assistance of GUS. For GUS loans, the agency can retrieve a copy of the credit report from the GUS. Credit report for non-purchasing spouse if the property is located in a community property state. A VOR is required if the applicant's credit score is less than 680. A VOR is not required for a GUS accept loan that is randomly selected for a full documentation review. A mortgage payoff statement if it's a refinance transaction. Standard flood determination form. Evidence applicant or co-applicant is a qualified alien if not a U.S. citizen. And lastly, the appraisal report. Again, remember to upload this document separately in the GUS and include color photographs. Make sure the appraised value is correctly entered in the GUS on the Additional Data Application page. Your application will be considered incomplete if this field is input incorrectly. The last checklist on page 2 of attachment 15A, Loan Origination Checklist, is for Streamline Assist Refinance loans. Assemble the following documents in this stacking order: the completed and signed form RD 3555-21, request for single-family housing loan guarantee, the underwriting transmittal or analysis, the uniform residential loan application, complete income documentation for all adult household members, asset verification documentation, mortgage payment history for the previous 180 days, mortgage payoff statement, and appraisal only if the original loan was a direct loan and subsidy recapture is due. As a reminder, Streamline Assist Refinance loans are not supported in GUS and must be manually underwritten. These loans will also utilize the two-step submission process discussed earlier in the module. For easy reference anytime, the complete manual submission job aid can also be found in the link library under the Loan Origination section. The fourth step is to upload your documents. It is very important that you upload all required documentation in a timely manner. When a lender requests a final submission in the GUS, it triggers a notification to Rule Development that the application is ready for the agency to review. If documents are not uploaded when Rule Development begins reviewing the application, the lender will be notified that the application is incomplete and documents need to be uploaded. Lenders may upload missing or corrected documents after final submission to USDA until the agency issues a conditional commitment. It is the lender's responsibility to notify the agency once the documents have been uploaded for incomplete applications, as the GUS does not notify Rule Development when documents are uploaded after the final submission has been requested. Once Rule Development receives notification from the lender that the documents have been uploaded, Rule Development will place the application in the review queue. Processing a final submission prior to uploading documents will not speed up the process, and as you can see, it will only slow it down, so you make sure your documents are uploaded prior to final submission. All documents except the appraisal should be assembled in one electronic file following the checklist stacking order, and preferably in black and white, while appraisals should be uploaded in color form. During the loan application creation and submission, The user may choose to upload documents associated with the loan application. This may include an appraisal report, underwriting, or request for guarantee. Start by selecting the More drop-down menu and select the Application Documents option. To upload a document into GUS, the user should follow these steps once on the Application Documents tab. First, review the borrower information. Next, review the file upload instructions, which are as follows. Acceptable file formats are Adobe PDF and TIF. Password-protected documents are not permitted. Maximum file size is 100 megabytes. User must make a selection for type of document prior to adding files using the upload feature. Up to 10 individual documents can be uploaded at a time. Select Submit Documents to attach documents to the application for submission to USDA. Next, select the type of document to upload and select the Upload Files button, or utilize the Drop Files option to select a file from the user's system. After selecting the Upload Files button or utilizing the Drop Files option to select a file from the user's system, the user should select the document to be uploaded. Select Open to attach the document to the loan application. Wait for the upload to complete, as indicated in the Upload Files dialog box. Select Done when the upload is complete. After the document has been uploaded, follow these steps to submit the document. First, select the Submit Documents button. Submitted documents appear in the Submitted Documents section. Select the eye icon under the Actions column to view the document. Use the action buttons to navigate through the submitted documents when there are multiple pages of submitted documents. The first button brings the user to the first page of results. The previous button takes the user back one page. The next button moves the user forward one page, and the last button takes the user to the last page of the submitted documents. Some additional notes. Users can continue to upload and submit documents even after the final submission of the loan application, while the application status is pending. Only portable document format, PDFs, and tagged image file format, TIFs, may be uploaded into the Application Documents tab. The system allows for file upload size to 100 megabytes for most documents, with the exception of the immigration's third check supporting documentation, which is uploaded within the additional data page and has a file size limit of 5 megabytes. Please note, it may take several minutes for the upload process to complete and for the document to be viewable. During the loan application creation and submission, the user may choose to generate and display Form 3555-21, the request for single-family housing loan guarantee. Generating the form begins by navigating to the Request Forms tab. To navigate to the page, select the More drop-down menu and select the Request Forms option. To request the 3555-21 form, follow these steps. First, navigate to the Request Forms tab. Select the borrowers to be included on the Form RD 3555-21. Next, select the Display Form button. Depending on your browser, the downloaded form file will be available in the Downloads folder or otherwise available for selection. Some additional notes. Only 2 borrowers can be selected at one time as a part of the requested form. If there are more than 2 borrowers as a part of the loan application, choose 2 of them, display the form, and then repeat the steps to get additional forms for the remaining borrowers. The form saves and renders as a pop-up. If the form does not render on your screen, please check your browser pop-up settings and ensure pop-ups are enabled for this site. If the agency concurs all program requirements have been met and agrees to guarantee the loan, Form RD 3555-18 with required conditions will be issued electronically to those identified on the GUS Credit Underwriting application page. Only those with an active GUS user role may be listed here. Those without an active GUS user role will not be able to open the link that is emailed when the conditional commitment is issued. If the agency is unable to take favorable action on the request, a written denial will be issued. Always verify you have a valid conditional commitment from rural development prior to closing a loan. Never close a loan without it. 7 CFR 3555 prohibits closing a single-family housing guaranteed loan without a conditional commitment. Loans closed prior to issuance of a conditional commitment will be rejected by rural development and will not be eligible for a loan note guarantee. Don't risk it. Monitor the lender webpage for turnaround times and plan accordingly. If there have been any changes since the conditional commitment was issued that may negatively impact the loan, those changes must be reviewed and approved by rural development prior to closing. To avoid closing delays, loan processors, loan officers, underwriters, and closers must work together to ensure that they allow rural development ample time to review changes that require rural development approval. This slide lists the changes that do and do not require rural development approval. The last step to building a complete application is utilizing the resources and tools. Save yourself valuable time by utilizing the numerous tools and resources rural development has developed to assist lenders with originating, processing, and servicing guaranteed loans. Rural development has developed numerous tools and resources to assist lenders with originating, processing, and servicing guaranteed loans. One useful resource is our frequently asked questions. This document has a lot of useful Q&A as they were received by our lending partners on the program. It is updated frequently and allows for the Control F feature. Our USDA Link Training and Resource Library provides our lending partners a wealth of key information, including current turn times, training, forms, checklists, and all the resources necessary to successfully navigate through the guarantee loan process. You can also sign up for Gov delivery notifications on this page under the Tools and Helpful Links drop-down tab. Make sure that you sign up for these notifications if you have not already done so. Gov Delivery provides email notifications on important program information such as policy changes, live training events, and GUS system issues. Additionally, you can find contact information for our operations team and all other support staff. Should you have questions on a file that has been submitted or would like to request a status, you will want to reach out to the processing team that handles the state where your property is located. Make sure you follow the helpful tips when sending the email to ensure a faster and more accurate response. Users should always first look for answers to their questions in the regulation and the handbook. But if you still have a question after reviewing these resources, we're here to help. All policy and regulation questions regarding the topic we just covered should be sent to our Policy Analysis and Communications branch. If you have a question on your lender approval or approval for the LLC system, reach out to our staff in the Lender Oversight branch. And finally, if you'd like to request additional program training, marketing, or outreach, contact our Lender and Partner Activities branch. We believe that the Single Family Housing Guaranteed Loan Program is a great program for low and moderate income home buyers who wish to purchase homes in rural areas. But we know that this program cannot be successful without our partnership with our lenders, so thank you. This will conclude the training module. Thank you and have a great day.